All right, guys. So, welcome to another episode of the Siempre Humilde podcast. I believe episode 4 we're on. Thank you, guys, for continuing tuning in, following us. I got Eddie Ortiz here, college friend, realtor, good person, I guess. Nah, I know. Yeah. So I brought him in for him to talk about how we met, what he does, and yeah. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself to the people watching at home, bro.
Hey, my name is Eddie Ortiz. Thank you, Alejandro, for introducing me here. So I am a realtor. I did grow up in Cicero Berwyn area. So I did most of my life. I was growing up in Cicero, right here by the BP gas station, and we ended up moving towards the laundromat, or the world's largest laundromat. So we've been there for a bit, and then my parents ended up buying a house a couple years later. Um, and I think after that purchase of my parents' house, that's when I actually kind of got a little bit more familiar with real estate. And my mom's what's his name? David Diaz is my mom's cousin. So he told me his advice. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. His advice was to stay in school. I was like, nah. I was like, but I liked real estate. I like to understand, at the end of the day, purchasing a home is probably one of the biggest important investments in your life. Yeah. And if you don't do it right, then you kind of mess up yourself for a while. And some people, happens to the 2008 crash, everyone loses their home and it's not even worth it. And you also hear the stories about being other realtors and messing up people.
Yeah. Money grab.
Yeah.
So before we get into that, right? Juicy topics everywhere. I mean, where we met, right? You said you don't remember if it was, I think it was college, bro. I think I met you in college. I'm like 100% sure we met in college through similar people. Or maybe it was just us partying and doing stuff like that, right? Young phase. What were you studying in college that you said, I don't want to do this? Or because I was studying to be law enforcement. And I saw everything, and then I really looked at it. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't see myself doing this. I don't want to do it. So I just kind of dropped out, I guess. What were you doing in college? What was your major? What was your plan?
All right.
Did you have a plan before real estate?
No, I didn't have a plan. So when I got my associates in science, I like science, but I didn't like it like that. I just loved learning about it. I didn't love doing it. I didn't love studying about it. Actually, I did love studying, but actually to go into class and do all these things, I didn't like it at all. So I had an idea what I wanted. I was a pharmacist, and then I changed it to a sociologist because I took one of the sociology class, and which was really interesting. And then I went to actually to school a couple times, and I was financial planning. I was just I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But I always liked business, but I never felt like that's an actual path you can take. It's more of science. And if you do engineering, those are the things that our parents sway us to. And business is something if I don't see it and if I don't know anything about it, it can't influence me. And so I'm it's an idea I want. I want to eventually work at this, me as a pharmacist or a sociologist, so I can own my own business. But I didn't know that's something I can do right away.
Okay. So it's so realtor's wasn't your, is it your long-term plan? Is it something you see yourself continuing doing on the side, or is it just one of those things where you're I'm going to do it because you like what you do, but do you see yourself doing it for many years to come, or you think you're just going to phase out of it eventually?
I think I would phase out of it, but as long as I have a good structure, and if I do end up creating a team, which I want to, is having good morals, having a good structure of I guess setting the new standards. I just feel a lot of times that we do work backwards, and if we don't, I feel being a realtor, we're in the middle of the community. So if we don't help, if we don't do anything, we're just there. We're in limbo. But if people see us as realtors giving and helping out more, then you have these new standards where other realtors have to keep doing that. Even if it's just a false image, it's something that they could be doing differently.
Yeah. So to people that don't know, let's say you're middle class family, right? Middle class. You want to buy a house, you don't know where you're scared because the first thing you think is foreclosure. The first thing you think, I'm gonna lose my house. Does it all have to do with credit, or what do you recommend to someone that wants to buy a house but doesn't know where to start?
First of them, I would say talk to a loan officer, or actually one of the things is make sure you get paid in a W-2. You can't, if you get paid in cash, I can't help you. Even with the rentals, it's very hard because you can be saying that you make $1,000 a week, but technically we don't know if you don't deposit it. Another thing I said, get a secured credit card. I think you can get one from Capital One for like around $350. And a secured credit card is basically you're giving in the money. They're guaranteeing you this card, and they're going to boost up your score, and eventually they're going to start increasing your limit more and more to see how trustworthy you are. And that's pretty much what credit score is. After that, I just create a game plan and like try to see what you want, what are your needs, because like you might just want a condo, you might just want like an actual house, or you might not, you wouldn't want to be here. Just like figure out what's your game plan, because when you graduate or when you get a new job, it's like try to figure out what you really want. I mean, we can see that from like high school. A lot of people have moved to like Rockford or Joliet, West Chicago.
Yeah, it's just like I want to get out of here.
Yeah, they wanted to get out of here. Yeah. So it just depends on everyone.
I mean, yeah, because I feel like with a lot of Hispanic, I saw it because my first job was at Best Buy. So, I mean, our interest rates were high. And you get pushed at these retail stores, bro. Like, I don't want to talk bad about anybody, but you get pushed at these retail stores to offer credit to somebody, and you make it seem like the best thing ever. Like, yo, you could finance this $5,000 TV. Then they don't know that half their payments are just going towards interest.
Yeah.
They miss one payment, now your credit's all fucked.
Yeah.
So, I guess my question to you is, do you think a credit card is like not a store credit card, but like a credit card through your bank is the best way to go about starting up your credit or fixing your credit?
Actually, most of the time, your bank will kind of like won't accept you, as it's like the much easier way to get a credit card was actually a store one.
Was it?
Yeah, that's what I've heard from many people, and that's also I suggest to other people, because I didn't get my first credit card until like maybe I was 22, and I applied for it, denied. Applied for it again, denied. And I'm like, that was much easier for a lot of people. It's like I think was like maybe Marshalls. Yeah.
And you think do they use like, what do they factor it as of like, what's the difference between getting approved by a bank and getting approved by a store like that? Is there any difference at all, or is it just?
I don't know. Actually, I don't know if there's a difference at all. Maybe you're just lying on the income thing, like 100,000.
Yeah, like I make 2,000 a week, but you're really making 500.
Yeah.
And then you get approved for a high amount, and now you're stuck. Like you just, because when people get credit cards, they just want to buy everything, and you're like, oh, I'll pay it later. I'll pay it later.
I think also one of the best things too, if you have a family member or one of your parents has like a good credit score, they can put you as a guarantor.
Okay.
I'm like, and that's probably going to help people boost up their credit. That's how some people even buy houses at 18. That's something that they can do.
Because I hear some people, you see it on Facebook, and you don't want to fact check it or anything. You're just like, some people say put your kids on your credit. When do kids start building credit? Because let's say you put your kid at 8, and it's like,
no, you can actually put it from like that long. But technically you can't take out a loan.
Okay.
Yeah. But I've heard someone doing that. They're like, oh, like I forgot who was, but they had their credit score since they were 10, 12. Yeah, but
just high credit score.
Yeah, high credit score.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, the tax code favors families.
I bet.
Yeah.
No. So what realtor school did you go to, or how'd you start in your journey of? I know you said you were always interested in it, but what made you say I want to do this? Like, where'd you go? What'd you do? Who'd you talk to? Who was your mentor? Stuff like that. It's
perfect. So, I got interested in real estate because at the end of the day, I think I was having like more of like, I hit a wall and I was like a crisis. I'm like, what do I want to do? Because I really didn't know. So I just started reading. I started to just figure out like, what's the difference? How do people create wealth? Okay. I'm like, because when I was working at FedEx, like I would always like see all the packages and I would just like factor in like, oh, that's $5 right there. Like how much, like dude, this whole truck is more than I would make in like the past 10 years. So I just got interested in like business because it's just pretty much all our way of our life. And so I ended up reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I think I feel like a lot of people listen to that. And it was just more of like the mindset of like how to play this game of Monopoly. It's actually a real thing. And so one of the biggest things that was real estate. I'm like, and I've always felt like it hit me hard when thinking about real estate because I always thought about the 2008 crash. Like my parents were one of the less fortunate to lose their house. And I wanted to help people to avoid that situation entirely. So I ended up meeting one of my first mentors. They were, I guess, through a bandit sign. Okay. And I'm like, oh, hey, I called them. And I'm like, just like, because they're looking for like, oh, we sell properties fast. And I'm going to like one of their meetup groups and I started talking to them more and just being around them and just seeing how they lived their life. And then ended up moving to California for a year.
Yeah, bro, because you just disappeared.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that off camera. Like, what made you jump to that? Like, I'm moving to California. Did you do realtor? What were you doing over there? If we can know.
Yeah, so I was with another real estate investing group, and I was just like, working with them, helping them with like, I guess like with their advertisement, just pretty much anything. Just as long as I was being involved, I felt happy. What else I was doing? I was also doing Uber back then, and yeah, but pretty much that's what I wanted to make it work over there. I ended up getting like hired from this guy from Beverly Hills. I forgot his name, and he ended up wanting me to do his social media marketing. And then I just like I didn't want to be around them, and then just leaving. But I only left because I chipped my tooth. Okay. And I was like I don't know what to do, so I ended up going home. But then I came back here again. I ended up meeting. There was this website called Bigger Pockets. So if you're ever interested, it's more of like a Facebook for real estate investors, landlords. So pretty much any information that you want, you just go through it. And I was just going through it. They were looking for a photographer, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like I can do that. I also did photography like for high school for like 4 years. I wish I took a language, but I ended up doing that. And so I ended up meeting him. Like he's probably one of like the biggest property managers in the South Side. And so I ended up working with him. I ended up doing a really good job. I got my leasing license. I ended up taking over like the position of the person who was there before. I ended up doing a really good job. I started creating my own little systems, and I was doing very well. Yeah. I liked it. It kept me busy. What else? And then COVID happened.
That was actually my next question. I was going to tell you, how did you see that COVID affected the market? Do you think? I felt like during COVID, people were buying houses left and right.
Yeah.
So was that based on the interest rates, or what was that based off? That people like they saw a pandemic and they're like, I got to buy a house.
No, it was the interest rates. It was around like 2% to even 3%, and even then, compared to how the interest rates are now. So say, for instance, I think they're around 7. That's like almost an $800 difference from.
Okay.
And $800 just goes a long way. So that's why they're buying more and more. And that's when I actually got let go from my company.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like during the beginning of the pandemic, I didn't understand it. I just wanted to keep my parents safe. They were the ones more paranoid. I didn't really care. I was like, you know what? I'm getting paid. But they kind of made me a little bit more like paranoid about it. So I told them like, hey, I don't feel comfortable, and they let me go. I was a little sad, but then a day, like, because I would have hit my 2 years, and I was planning on buying a house. But yeah, it didn't happen that way.
I mean, COVID fucked us all over, no?
Yeah.
I feel like it messed up a lot of people's plans, and I know it affected the renters because they got some people weren't paying rent. They didn't have to, they got a kind of a forgiveness thing.
Oh, yeah.
Did that cause a lot of people to sell?
If they did, it was going to be hard, just because some of the people, they had squatters' rights until maybe mid last year.
Okay.
So a lot of people just barely left, and as if they left. But it did hurt a lot of people. But they were able to do a forbearance, basically put the mortgage payments in the back of the loan. But you'd eventually, like sometimes you even had to pay for it, like right away out of pocket.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so that's why I think we're going to see in the next couple months is we're going to see that happen. Like the people who weren't able to pay for that, like those payments, that we're going to see them hit the market.
Oh, yeah? What do you suggest? You think it's time to buy? Obviously, you're a realtor, so people are probably going to say this, and he's going to be like, of course, he's going to tell you to buy. Do you think right now, because rents are skyrocketing, bro? Yeah. Rents, you're paying $1,000 for a basement, you're paying $1,500 just for a 4-person family.
Yeah.
Do you think long term, someone who's scared to do it, what do you tell them to get to jump into that? Like,
I mean, if it makes sense to you, then I would say purchase. But something has to change, either the interest rates or the payments on the house. I mean, or that's interest rates go hand in hand with the payments, or even the prices. Something has to change, because if you look at it, the prices are much higher than what it is. I think a regular house, a bungalow, is around like $300,000 in Berwyn. And so I'm like, a couple of years ago, maybe like 5 years ago, that was maybe like $200,000, maybe even less. So as long as it makes sense, I really don't know, but I'm kind of like, I just don't know where it's going to go. We also have like the factors of like, our money's inflated. So.
Because I feel like everywhere you go now, like cash is just being no cash, card only. And right now, even just like economics in other countries, you got the dollar at 17 pesos in Mexican. So I just feel like all that factors into the housing market also. Do you think it's going to be to the point where is there more houses to buy right now than sell? Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market?
It's still a seller's market. There's no inventory. So it's basically like last year, but the prices are higher. The interest rate's higher.
Okay.
And people are still buying. And that's what's it's amazing that people are still buying. It's just more, we're just seeing the prices go higher and higher, and even properties too. Like if you put an offer, like majority of the times what I've been hearing from other realtors is that the property's been appraising over.
Okay.
I'm like, dang. I was like, so I don't really know where the market's gonna go. But like I said, something has to change.
And do you think it will change? What do you think? Or you think it's just gonna stay like that for? Obviously, you don't know, right?
No,
Obviously,
I don't know.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
I hope not, because I think it's a lot. I'm like, because your wages haven't even caught up to actually how much of the mortgage is. So I hope one of these changes. I hope it's the interest rate. I hope it's the price. Something needs to change.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what kind of helped me off a bit. Like, some people are just scared to make that jump. But I feel like in order to buy a house, you gotta have everything set. You gotta know what you're gonna do, because buying a house is like you buy a car, something goes wrong, a fix. You gotta have someone to inspect. So when you guys do inspection, do you guys have a set company that you guys do it through, or how does the inspection process go?
Yeah, so we do have a set of people that we do use, and I have a person I use. His name is Chris.
Okay.
I like how he works. He talks to the person and gives them solutions rather than scaring someone. And because someone who's already purchasing is going to be scared, and so like any little wrong move, they're like, nope, too much. But they have that option. Oh,
okay. So let's say I put a bid on a house, right?
Okay.
Let's say you're like, oh, Alex, you can get it for. Do you always do people overbid, or what's your suggestion? Let's say a house is $350. Is it like the car market where you're like you can go a little bit under, or how's that?
I mean, depends. So sometimes, majority of the times that the property has been on the market for less than a week, most likely someone's going to overbid on that.
Okay.
But if it's been on the market for a little bit longer, maybe 11 days, someone already has the same mindset I'm thinking. I'm like, okay, this has been on the market longer. I can put a lower offer. But even then, like sometimes on the weekend, they're like all multiple offers. I'm like, really? It's been like 2-3 weeks on the market. So when someone sees that, I'm like, ugh. But yeah, you can get it under. It's just depending. Yeah. And
is it hard to work with all right, so let's say a client, right? Like, let's say I tell you, Eddie, I found this house in Berwyn I really like. It's under contract with another realtor. Is it difficult to work? Like, let's say you guys are in with the same company, or does that ever happen where you guys it's difficult to deal with people?
Wait, I mean, if it's already under contract, it means it's not on the market. But you meant like if I have a transaction with another realtor?
Yeah.
It's not difficult. I mean, at the end of the day, you just call them. Like, they're trying to get the sale, and they're going to try to do the best to like help you out. Because like when we do the inspection, it's more of like not fighting or anything. It's just more like, hey, this is like solutions. These are things that we didn't see coming. But I feel like a person's going to be more reasonable, the realtor.
Because you're like, I want to get this house off the market. It's been on the market. I just want to help my client sell it and stuff like that. It's like what I talked about with Edwin on our last episode. I don't know if you watched it. I feel like more and more people are moving out of Illinois. Yeah. Do you see that too? Yeah, Florida's hot. I mean, besides what's going on now, but after that immigration law. Right?
Yeah. But taxes, they're going anywhere. Yeah, because our taxes are so much higher, like 11%. Property taxes, they just keep going up and up.
So it's like people would rather be like, I'm gonna move to like Oklahoma or something where I'm gonna pay less and get like a bigger house. Mm-hmm. Why is that? Is that all based on state taxes? So like I see a lot of people always sharing on social media. They're like, would I buy a house for here in Berwyn? I can get a mansion in Texas.
So I think that has to do with politics, because like people are moving to red states from blue states, and like and Illinois is probably like one of the top corrupted cities or countries.
We all know.
Or Illinois is the state, whatever. I think we're 48 if I remember correctly.
I mean,
or number 2.
Damn. Yeah, because everybody's always like Texas. what I seen some people. A lot of my friends moved to Arizona, and it's just I never understood it. But like you said, I guess if it's the market,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And so like, is it hard to work with friends, bro? Like, do you feel like sometimes they look at you like this guy's just trying to get my money? Or how do you go about like, let's say someone comes up to you kind of iffy, where it's like this guy's just trying to make me buy this house because he wants his money.
No, I think the best times I had with someone were strangers, people I don't even know.
Okay.
I met them through open houses. I met them just talking to them. I felt like I don't have that confidence with the people I know to actually work with me.
Oh, really?
So like, yeah. So I think the only person I worked with was named Diana and Christian. So they worked with me, but other than that, like I don't feel like anyone has from outside from high school or my sphere, because they don't seem like, oh, it's Eddie.
Oh,
like,
okay.
I don't know, like, oh, what does that mean?
And like this guy's just gonna give us like a party house or something or stuff like that.
Yeah. But yeah, like the people I've met, like strangers, or I'm like, but they're friends now. I message them and talk to them once in a while. But they did really like how I was working, and it was much easier to work with them because at the end of the day, they don't have like a bad notion of me.
Okay.
They have like good expectations of how I present myself.
So they know that you help them out and stuff like that. I mean, that's good. I mean, I feel like, I guess like we said, people are kind of scared to jump into the market right now. But I just feel like it's something that we all gotta do. If you want to do it right. I know a lot of people that rent it their whole life and they send money abroad to build a house in Mexico. They have that set in their mind, which a lot of our parents, that they're like, I don't want to own a house here. I don't want to do this, do that. And that's how I looked at it. And I feel like I kind of want to break away from that, where you're like, okay, so like I see more and more of my friends buying properties to rent. What goes into that? So like let's say I buy a 3-flat, right?
Okay.
Do you find it convenient? Let's say I'd be like, I'll live in the basement and I'll rent the other 2.
I mean, yeah, you can do that as long as it makes sense. So if you live in the basement and if it's not an actual unit, you can do that technically. Yeah, it's just a little bit much easier because at the end of the day, it just takes 1 or 2 people just to change the whole house dynamic. And so if you stay in the apartment or just a multi-unit for a couple of years, then you have a kid, and like that changes the whole thing, then you're gonna need a house. But it's good just to have the house in order for it to be like force equity. The property's appraising, and also you have the income coming in. So it's gonna be a forced piggy bank within 20, 30 years. So
okay, I mean, and so when you guys get these houses inspected, like, is dealing with permits, like, is that bad? Like getting a permit in Cicero? I know a lot of people like complain about their permit department, where they can't get their fence built, or like if it's roofing, you got to have a permit for everything here.
Yeah, so they do. So the inspection, well, Cicero does its own inspection, but like me having the inspector, they just point out whatever is wrong with the property. Cicero inspection, they do the same thing of like what's wrong with the property that you need a permit for here. But Cicero does give you a list.
Okay.
Yeah, and as long as they're licensed and you just shop around with them. But yeah, I've heard, I think, like the only thing you don't need a permit for, I think, is just for the floors. Other than that, it's pretty much like if you had to change the water boiler or anything, it's a permit. Like if
you want to change your windows up, you gotta have a permit.
Yeah,
stuff like that. That's crazy.
Permit for everything.
See, those are. I guess that's something where, like, I guess that's why some people move away from Cicero. But you work all over. Like, what's the furthest you've gone to sell a house? From where we're at.
Furthest I've gone. Actually, I would say, where was it longer? South Chicago, or like, so it's around, I think it was like 103rd and Jeffrey.
South side.
Yeah, so very south side. But that's also where I did most of my rentals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've been out to like Calumet City and all that. They got nice houses over there, but I just look at it and I'm like, man, that drive, man. Like, but
it's not bad. It's like 35 minutes right now. No traffic.
No traffic, but when you're in traffic, it's because I have cousins that live on the south side, and I feel like everywhere it's kind of getting better. Mm-hmm. Where you want to, like these neighborhoods back then, you're like, I would never buy a house there, and now it's just like you got all these people moving in, gentrification, like people like to say. Do you think that affects the market also? Like, do you think like putting like Little Village, right? What's happening in Little Village? Like with the discount one and everything, do you think actually putting a Target there and stuff like that makes people gravitate towards that? Or is that just all part of us just being...
it does change everything. I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at the discount mall, how it was, it's a lot of local entrepreneurs, and that money stays in the community.
Okay.
And when you have that target, it's not going to change anything. So all these people who are making money there, they're going to have to move somewhere else, or have to make their money somewhere else, and it's going to start changing the whole.
Because rent goes up, right?
Yeah.
Like everything, rent goes up, cost of living goes up.
Yeah. And that's because people are just like, selling their properties at a high because someone's going to be offering cash. A lot of the places that have been gentrified, like think like Bucktown, Logan Square, Humboldt Park is like half of it. I think Wicker Park in the 70s was like predominantly Latinos. So a lot of these areas, even I think Gold Coast as well. So a lot of these areas, they eventually did change. We can go over there and you can see the difference.
Yeah, as opposed to coming somewhere and then going somewhere else. You notice the little differences.
Yeah.
But us growing up here, you notice the difference. You're like, you see these houses and you're just amazed. Like I feel like that's our goal. Mm-hmm. As a little kid, you're like, wow, I see this huge house. I want that. Like, I want that house. And then you eventually get older. You look at the housing market and everything. It's doable.
Yeah, it's doable.
But, I mean, do you recommend... I mean...
I wouldn't want a big house. That's too much to clean.
Property taxes and everything.
Property taxes and everything. I mean, depending if you go further out, then you can get the taxes cheaper. But it's Cook County that has a lot of... Yeah.
Cook County. So I see a lot of people jumping into like realty, right? Realtor. Mm-hmm. Like, do you think, I don't want to say oversaturated, because I mean everybody should chase what they want to do. Mm-hmm. What's the best? Let's say someone comes to ask you, are you knowledgeable with that advice? Someone comes up to you like, why do you want to do realtor? Are you gonna ask them, or are you just gonna guide them in that direction? Like, you're not gonna be a hater, right? You're not gonna be like, why do you want to do it, or stuff like that? Or do you ask those questions before?
I mean, depending, like, if someone were to ask me, like, oh, how'd you become a realtor? Then I'll answer it. I'm like, if they're just asking me where I took the test, I'll send them a test. But it depends on how someone interacts with me. Okay. So if this person asks me, like, hey, can I take you out for lunch? Can I have coffee with you? And just talk about your experience as a realtor, I'll have that. But I'm not going to, like, if they don't ask me that question, I'm not going to I'll just give them what they asked me for.
So like, let's say someone comes up to you and like, how much money do you make? That eventually, do you think that's just something that a switch in you that you're like, so you're just in there like quick buck?
I mean, no, I would just say not enough for me to do what I want.
Because everybody loves money. Who doesn't, And I saw your Facebook yesterday about the Mr. Krabs thing, and that had me dying laughing. What was that about, if we could know?
Oh man, so back in California, there's this guy, every time he talked, it was just nothing about money. Like, it was all about money. And like, I swear that he would drool over it. Like, when he said money, he literally made a face. And anything that he did, it was just all about money. He didn't really care like how people was like reaction towards him. He just, at the end of the day, he has his paper. And just being around him just made me feel bad about myself and him. But like, I think people do care about money, of what they can do with it. I really don't care at the end of the day. Like, I'm comfortable. I was like, if I just have a room, or if anything, I'm comfortable with that. Okay. And yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
You don't have to be like, I have this, but I can have something better. I can do this. I can do that. You don't have to be out every day eating at fancy restaurants and stuff like that. No. It looks nice. I know some people that do it in the industry that I work in, right? They're cool people and everything, but it's like you said, money is the motive for them. Money is like money. Yeah. Like, I want to be out doing these things. I want to be on vacation. I want to do stuff like that. So, as a realtor, I see some people getting in the Airbnb market. Mm-hmm. Is that a route you suggest to go? What would be better, to rent a unit or to do an Airbnb?
I mean, it depends. I mean, if it's your thing and if you're able to take the risk, then try to do Airbnb. I don't know much of it, but I'm kind of familiar with it. As long as the city approves it, because they don't want strangers coming in and out. And as long as if you're able to take the hit and it's profitable, then say why not. I think like in Ravenswood that they're allowing people to convert their houses to coach houses, and they're able to rent it out to Airbnb, and they're making more money that way.
Are they?
Yeah. So as long as it makes sense, as long as you can secure yourself and have a plan.
Because I assume you would have to talk to, like, let's say you rent a condo downtown, you would have to talk to the condo owner manager, right? Yeah. To be like, can I have different people coming in and out of this condo?
And most likely they're going to say no. As long with short-term merchants, they're going to say no.
And why is that?
Just because they don't want strangers. You don't know who's going to be your neighbor. They're like, maybe this just go for a party. You've seen the videos where people just like cave in the floors, just throwing parties.
They're just out drinking and like, I don't give a fuck. They'll charge me what I need to pay and the card, and that's it. And now you're just left with all that.
Yeah.
Can they kick you out? Like, let's say you have like, or like once it's your property, or I've always wondered that.
Or for like the associations?
Yeah.
Yeah, the associations have a lot of power, and it's interesting thing too. Like if you don't pay your association fees, then they can take away back your unit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's a little bit, even if a $200 thing, like imagine that you get your whole like condo house taken away because you're not paying your association fees.
So all that money you inverted is done. I'm guessing that's what you signed in the contract, no?
Yeah.
I mean,
and then you also got to abide by the like their little rules and everything like that. Stricter.
Do you help people with out of market buys? Like, are you able to do that with your license? And like let's say someone be like, I want to move to Arizona, I want to move to this.
Yeah, as long as I have my license there. But if anything, I can point them in the right directions if they're moving that way. But I don't have my license for over there, but I can point them in the right direction.
So is it a different license for every state?
Yes.
Type of thing?
Yes.
Okay, see that I didn't know. I thought you just get your fucking real estate license.
I wish. Imagine that. I'll be a traveling realtor. Come.
Like you get like a driver's license and you like a drive here, or there.
Yeah, just start selling one house over there. Boom, 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 boom. Traveling.
Are all the tests different? Like, were you nervous about taking your realtor test? Or?
Yes.
Yeah?
Because when I was leasing, I had my realtor. I took my realtor classes, but I didn't take them right away. I was like, I didn't make the time to study, or if I did study, I couldn't digest it. But it took me about like a year and a half to actually study.
Okay. And where do you go take this test? Is it online based or? You
can do both. Actually, it might change, but you can do both. You can go to in-person, online, hybrid, but just search up like real estate schools, and there's a whole bunch of pop-up. The one I went with was CRES.
Okay.
And it was nice. It was good.
And what's the percentage that you need to pass? Or was there like a set standard?
I don't remember. It would probably be high. It probably had to be like 90.
90?
Yeah.
So like 89, you're done. You don't.
Yeah,
you have
like
to take it again.
90. But you do have to take continuous education.
Okay.
Like every bi-week or bi-yearly or every 2 years. But yeah, I think it's a good amount of like studying, because first time I failed half of it, and I I barely failed by like 4 questions. So I passed the thing to state, and then I passed the other one. What is it, state, and I think the federal.
So you as a realtor, let's say you buy your own property, can you do it on your own?
Yeah.
Is that something where you can be like,
yeah,
I know the ins and outs? So
no, a lot of people actually do that. That's actually normal, that they don't even need a realtor. They can do like owner-to-owner transfers. Yeah, as long as they have an attorney.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and last question about realtor before we jump into like other stuff, right? Do you think it's better to get a loan from the bank you bank with? Or is it harder to get a loan from a bank you bank with just because they know your history and all that?
Yeah, they're gonna see all those bad charges.
They'll be like, "Why'd you waste $300 at a strip club, bro?"
Like supporting the locals. Nah. It is a little bit stricter. I mean, if you think about it, big banks have a little bit stricter laws, because at the end of the day, they crash the market.
Like JP Morgan and all that, right?
So they have a little bit more debt to income ratios. They have a little bit more stricter rules. But there are small banks. There are like community banks too. Like I think the one right there on Cermak and Cicero Avenue.
And there's also credit unions.
Yeah, credit unions. So those are going to be options. There's also like loan brokers, where basically like, shopping for the best rate. So there's a lot of ways to go. We can shop around for what's going to be best for you.
What's the best thing for you at the moment and stuff like that?
For us, like working with a loan officer?
Yeah.
I would say just like the program. So like what programs can you offer my clients, and what are your rates, and how can we, and how they communicate, especially how they communicate with the client.
There's like a first-time home buyer, no?
Yeah.
So it's first-time home buyer, and like, there's a lot of stuff with like Hispanic and Latinos, no?
Mm-hmm. So like Chase, they do offer, I don't know what the grant's called, but it's $5,000. And depending on what income area you live in, so pretty much like Berwyn or Cicero, because it's a lower class neighborhood technically, but like a good neighborhood, they're able to give you that $5,000.
Okay. As opposed to if you want to move to like a suburb.
Like a nice suburb, they probably won't give you that $5,000.
No,
most
they're
likely.
Gonna be like, no. You want to move out there, so go ahead and do it on your own.
Yeah, and the interesting thing too is like what I've learned you only need like 3.5% down to actually purchase a property. But also like the fees as well is probably like 3.5 to 4%.
And also you gotta have like that back money, right? Like in case you need something, like because you're gonna furnish your home and all that. So
Yeah,
you kind of get like, let's say you buy a house and you're just there and you're like,
go back to the credit cards.
you're like, all right, let me max out all my credit cards. I mean, now that's interesting. I learned a lot. I mean, you know, I feel like I did. I mean, it's just like, I think for me next year, it's when I'm going to hit the market. Next year is just something I want to like, right now I'm just like taking a step back, looking at everything. And like when I see you post people that buy houses, I'm like, man, that's cool. I see like 18, 19-year-olds, but like you said about the credit thing, that's how they get their properties and stuff like that. I mean, that's cool, man, that you help people. Yeah. You're not just in it for the money.
No, I couldn't be for the money. I think that's what's different about me. Like, I just want to help people, and I don't want to, just like I said, I don't want them to be screwed over. I want them to be happy with what they purchase. That's pretty much like my reason for why I'm being a realtor, because at the end of the day, like there wasn't a lot of realtors back then. If there were realtors, they're different. They weren't Latinos. They weren't like minorities. They weren't people in our community.
So now I feel like now when like, let's say a Hispanic family goes by someone that's bilingual or someone that looks like them basically, and you're like, okay, so this guy's gonna, you feel more comfortable as opposed to someone just throwing stuff at you and you're kind of lost. I feel like just guiding someone in the right, you make people feel more comfortable. You make people want to buy. Yeah. As opposed to throwing some information at somebody and then they're just like, well, this guy wants my money, so now they're out. Now they don't hit you up, they don't call you, and you're like, all right, on to the next. Yeah. As opposed to figuring out. Yeah.
But that's, I think they're just looking at people as like a transaction. Yeah. Yeah, at that point.
I mean, that's cool that you don't do that. I mean, you know, like people are probably going to see this and like he's saying this on camera. No, but I know Eddie, he's a good guy. He's going to, if you guys need a realtor, obviously talk to him, message him, he's available. Facebook. What's the best way to contact you, Eddie?
My number, 708-556-9533. Facebook, Instagram, Eddie Ortiz.
We'll link all that on the description. I'll make sure to link all that. So, man, let's loosen up, bro. What's been up with you? What do you want to talk about? How have you seen yourself change, bro? I remember, I guess like we used to go crazy, like party and stuff like that. And I feel like we both changed. Yeah. We were just talking about it off air. We used to go on 4-day benders.
You did. I don't think I was that bad.
I think I would see you at 4-day benders, bro. 3 days maybe. But how did you see your life change, or what made you be like, all right, I'm done with that. I lived it. Do you think it's just part of us growing up, or you're just like, I did all that, I don't want to keep doing the same thing, or what was your main focus?
I think for me to get to that point, I've always been like an awkward kid. And I wouldn't talk. I wouldn't like, if I did, I got in trouble because I'd say the wrong things. Sometimes I felt like I'm a little unfiltered. So I think it was just more of like trying to fit in. Okay. At the end of the day, like, I don't know. I'm like, if you remember me, I'll just be quiet. Just zoning. But I did like to drink. I just liked it just because I felt like a different person.
I feel like you have the courage. You do things that you wouldn't do sober.
Yeah. And I think that's the scariest thing. I was like, it's whether they can be good or bad things, and I think that's what I'm fearful of drinking now.
So you cut back on it a lot, right? You said like, do you consider yourself a social drinker, like?
Social drinker, I would say yes, but I've always been trying to cut for a while, and then people would think like, oh, like look at it's Eddie again trying to stop drinking. I'm like, no, I don't want to drink. But it's just I just never felt the benefits. Like I felt like very drained. I'm very scared that I might hurt someone. I'm scared I might hurt myself. I'm scared that I don't know.
Get in your car and you think you're okay and stuff like that. Yeah, man. I mean, because I see your progression, and that's just because I know you. Maybe people watching are going to know you. But, like you said, they're going to be like, this guy's trying to quit again and stuff like that. Yeah. I guess we just built up that fame or whatever it is you want to call it, bro. It's like...
They're like, what, Eddie, without a michelada is like crazy. And I was like, what? Nah,
it's like me, bro. Like you said, like, I would do the 4-day benders. I'm not gonna lie. I would do the fucking 4-day benders, bro, from Thursday to Sunday. Mm-hmm. I would kill a fifth every day. Yeah. But luckily, I never got to that point where I needed it. I felt like it was like you said, in high school, I was that awkward kid, shy kid. I wanted to fit in. So like when people would offer me a drink, now I got to do it. I want to be cool. I want to drink. I want to do that.
Pretty much how every drug I was introduced to. I was like, I swear. I was like, everything other than that, like I never saw the benefit of it.
Yeah, I mean, it just deteriorates your health. I mean, it's fun. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's like once in a while, it's okay. Like, I do sporting events. I go to Bears games. I drink at 8 a.m. That's just the thing to do, right? I guess that's just what you're programmed to. But I did do like a year and a half sober, where I would go to parties, I would go to cookouts, I would go to sporting events, and I wouldn't drink. And I found myself sometimes even enjoying it more because you know everything that's going on around you. You network. And then you just see the dumb shit that your friends do.
Yeah.
And you're just like, man, bro, like you did this. And you don't want to be that person. You're like, oh, fuck. Like, I did that for real. I said that. I mean, we both progressed.
Yeah. So for you, why'd you stop drinking? Where is it just more of like health reasons or like more of like, I guess, clarity of your life? Like, were you abusing it?
This was probably like a year, like 2 years ago, where it was just one day, bro. Like, it was just one of those things where I was going out every day, every weekend, just having easy access to it where I work. Just, knowing the people that I know where, like, oh, I'm going to go get a drink here. And now you're just on a bender because people are like, oh, Alex, like, send them a bucket, do this, do that. I think I just, like, sat down one day and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm wasting this money that I could have saved and bought something I wanted. Or I'm putting myself at danger. I'm putting someone I know in danger. And I just kind of refocused. I'm like, do I have the mental capacity? Do I have that strength to be like, as a fucking man, I can cut back on drinking? Because no one wants to admit when they need it.
Yeah.
I think that's the hardest thing when you're like, I need alcohol to have fun. Like, you really don't. It's more fun. I'm not going to lie. You're like, oh, this, that. But I guess I just sat back and I'm like, let me see if I can do it. My first goal was 3 months. After 3 months, I'll do 6. After 6, 9. After that, I'm just like, I don't really need it. And then when I did start drinking, the first 2 beers I had, I was shit-faced. Because your tolerance goes down and stuff like that. But I also did it just to focus on the gym, just to, like, I was cutting back from the gym. I was starting to gain weight back. I was kind of losing focus on everything I did to get to that point where my mental health was better.
All right.
And so I'm like, I don't want to go back to that deterioration where I'm like, I need this. I'm going to go back to my old lifestyle. I'm going to do that. And that's why I stopped. And then you also lose a lot of friends along the way.
Yeah, I mean, but that's because, like, you don't really lose them. You just don't want to drink with them. I think that's the difference.
That too. Or even then, like, some people just stop. I had friends that were cool. Friends that, like, they'll invite me out and you'll be like, I don't drink though. Then they'll be like, that's not what we're asking, bro. Come by. Come have some food. Come buy that. There would be friends that just stop hitting you up. Yeah. They'll be like, this guy's boring. This guy doesn't drink this, that. So, yeah, that's why I did it, bro. I just focused more on the gym stuff, mental health more than anything. I was kind of in a point where I needed it. I was kind of in a point where I'm like, I'm stressed from work. I'm stressed from this. So I want to drink. Yeah. Like, I want to do it.
No, I never got to that point. My thing was just more, I guess, abusing it because I didn't feel good about myself. Okay. And so that's pretty much what I would drink a lot. Yeah. And to the point where I was like, I could say I was like maybe like a drunk. I was a drunk. And
what time was your first drink at that point?
Oh, that time? My bad. That time where I was like in my dark path, early as possible.
Waking up, boom.
Yeah. And that was just straight liquor, wine, anything I could drink. And I would even mix with it, like with either like pills.
You're just like,
I was like,
when you start drinking, when you start losing focus of what it is you had in mind, and I feel like with us, you go to the gym, I see you, like, you said you're losing body fat, right? Like, you're not losing weight, but I feel like when you're in that motion where you're like, I'm not gonna drink, like, sometimes, like,
little Hercules
flexing. Even now, like, let's say I don't drink on a Saturday, or I have a beer or two, and then I cut myself off. I wake up Sunday feeling good, knowing that I can get up and hit the gym, knowing that I can start my day at 9 a.m. Without needing alcohol to start my day, because now you're just hungover and you're like, stuff like that. So I just feel like it deals a lot with the people you hang around with too.
It does. I mean, it's part of our culture as well.
Yeah, like everything, like drink. I'm not saying it's bad, because it is, but if you're if you can do it and get up, go to your 9 to 5, do it. By all means, I'm not going to judge you. But I think once it gets to the point where you need it, I feel like that's where you kind of have to step back and be like.
But I don't think anyone can ever admit that.
It was hard for me to admit it. Like when they would come at me about it, I'd be like, "Oh, you're just hating this, that." You know, you're just like, oh, I don't like stuff like that. Cause I don't know, bro. And the gym. So my advice to anybody is if you want to come back on drinking, get in the gym. Or start walking, bro. 10, 20, 30 minutes. Because it helps a lot.
No, it does.
And like you see, like when I go to the gym and I see these guys, like you talk to them. What'd you do over the weekend? Man, I was at the gym. I was out doing a 5K. What'd you do, dude? I was recovering.
Recovering. I mean, you can still drink and run.
I have a friend who was drinking Salucita Paloma on the treadmill, bro. He sent me a video.
Oh my!
I'm not gonna say names, but that had me dying. Like I'm like, bro, really? He's like, I need it. I'm like, all right, cool.
The commitment.
I mean, so what's your plan with the gym? What do you want to get to? I know you're doing the XFit challenge, right?
Yeah, so I'm doing the XFit challenge. So I got chunky over, I guess, for like past 6 months, just eating and drinking. Normally, I never get myself that big, but I got myself to like 190, and I was like, dang. So I just wanted to push myself, and I also ended up getting a trainer. Shout out to Julio. But that's because like I do like going to the gym. I always, even if when I was drinking, I would still go to the gym. But I need someone to, I guess, help me like just push those heavy weights, because I love doing heavy weights. I love it. But if you don't have anyone who's able to help you that, and then like it kind of like goes down. Yeah,
because I mean, having a gym partner is cool, but sometimes you need that focus where it's just you and your headphones. I feel like you need someone with that knowledge. You need someone there to, like you said, push you. Yeah. You need someone like it's cool when people hit you up like, let's go. I used to find it so hard for someone to hit me up and like, let's go to the gym and say, bro, it's a fucking Saturday. Why am I going to the gym? You know?
I feel like that would be me.
Yeah, like you. I remember when you would hit me up, bro, and you're like,
let's go to the gym.
Are you going to the gym? It would be like a Saturday. I'm like, bro, I'm gonna go out to drink. What the fuck? I would just like respond the next day, yo, my bad, bro. Like, I just saw this, bro. It was in my unreads. Yeah, but now it's like I said, I think it just has to deal a lot with the people you surround yourself with, people that are in your life, people that want to see you do better. I'm that kind of person. If we go out, I don't know you're drinking, right? I offer you a drink. Oh, I don't drink, Alex. My bad. I'm never gonna ask you again. I don't care how drunk I get. I'm in that mindset where I'm like, I don't want to make him feel uncomfortable to the point where he's gonna leave, or to the point where he's gonna stop talking to me because he thinks I just want to get him back to that habit.
No, perfect. I actually like people like that. I mean, as long as they like, you don't guilt trip. And I do remember a lot of that like happening.
Yeah. So like we would party, right? And take a shot. Nah, bro, I'm okay. Nah, bro, come on, man. You're quit being like this, that. You want to impress people.
Yeah, you do.
You want to impress people. End of the day. Yeah, bro. I mean,
you're impressing the culture that you live in.
Yeah, because you're like, oh man, this guy's crazy. He drank like 12 beers in under an hour, stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I work in the industry, so like a lot of people are probably like, oh, like, you know, it's like I work in it. I see people go out. There's people that I've gone out with in the industry that can have one cocktail at dinner and they're fine.
Yeah,
they still hit the gym. They're on their health, stuff like that. I just feel like when it gets to that point where you, like we said, you need it or you just can't stop, I think that's when you just kind of got to reevaluate yourself. And I feel like that's what we did.
Yeah, transform.
Like, and it grows mentally too.
Yeah.
From what I've known you, probably like we fell off. And then I remember seeing you at the gym randomly and you came up to me.
And I pop up I disappear for times at end.
Yeah, bro, you just like hibernate, I guess. Yeah, bro, I mean, that's cool. I mean, so do you plan on doing marathons? Do you plan on competing with?
Oh, no. I think it's just more for just transformation for myself. As long as I look good and I feel good, it's just more of like, you know, I want to become, you know, a better version of myself. And I feel like a lot of things are like, you know, from me like drinking, from me to like, you know, halting down, it's just me trying to transform myself to a better version of myself.
Yeah.
Where people are happy to be around, people are more, I guess, just to bring a positive influence around. And then be like, oh, hey, like, you know, I want to do what he does. Like, I see how he represents himself. I want to encourage people, because at the end of the day, like, if you don't see that, if you don't feel like that's an option, then you'll never change. And I'm a big thing of like learning, reading, changing. And I always go through these like transformations a lot, like trying to better myself.
Yeah. I mean, and I feel like a lot of it, this is jumping away from realtor. People are going to be like, I thought this was like a realtor episode. These guys are bringing me down.
Transformation, depression.
Yeah. So it's like, I just feel like us as Hispanics and all that, mental health is just one thing we shy away from because we don't talk about it enough. So you go to drinking. You go where you're like, I'm going to drink, I'm going to feel better. But you really don't. You're just bottling it up.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody here watching this needs like someone to talk to, you guys can always hit our line. You can always hit up Eddie if you guys ever need advice or anything.
Definitely.
That's what I just wanted to say.
Yeah, you know, I think it's just like people realize that they're depressed is like at night, is when they're laying alone and everything just starts to flood their mind. And it's possible. Like I could say I went off the wagon, but I'm happier. I'm happier than when I was before. It's a little sad who I was before, but I'm happier who I am right now.
Well, that's cool, man. I mean, I love seeing my friends' growth. I love talking to people. Just like I reconnected with Mateo here, the one that does all our producing. Shout out to him. You talk to these people and you're like, damn, I didn't know you did that. Like, I just saw you to drink, bro. Like, like you know, stuff. No, bro, like, it's like that. Like, you know, like, easily, like, let's say you hit me up, right? Like, yo, I do realtor. I'm like, I'm not going to answer you because now I'm like,
yeah, I feel like that's a lot of people, like, on my Facebook. I'm like, I didn't have social media until recently, and, like, they don't want to add me. I know that.
Like, even if you want to hang out, right? Like, yo, what are we doing? And it's like, this guy's going to sell me a house.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I see. And I was like,
It's like you're going to go out to eat, and this guy's like, hey, look at this house. You're going to be like, bro, I just want to have some Chipotle, bro. Like, stop it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool, man. I mean, it's always cool catching up with people.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
I wish I could do that more, but like I said, people are just like, oh, he's a realtor. And sometimes I have to tell people, like, no, I'm not trying to sell you a house. Like, how are you? Like, really?
Yeah.
And they don't respond sometimes. So I'm like, okay.
So do you guys offer, back to realtor for one quick question, do you guys offer workshops for people who are interested in buying houses? Like, where they can go to your guys' office? Or can they just go in anytime and ask you about the home buying process?
Oh, yeah, they can ask me for a consultation. And so we can do, it's like about like an hour and a half. Workshops, I'm planning on doing one. I want to do it at this bar I worked at before. It's called Aztec Days, really good tacos.
Yeah.
But I want to do over there and just like, you know, people from high school, because the owner, he's from high school as well. So just like support, like, you know, people from our community.
Yeah, man, if you ever get a workshop going, just, you know, hit me up. We can probably even, I've been thinking about going out with like a microphone or something, asking people questions, kind of grabbing some clips. So even then we can work something out, bro.
Awesome.
We can work something out where you can hit me up like, yo, Alex, you know, I'm setting up a workshop. All right, cool, man. And then I'll just tell people when you get there, you know, you can ask them, like, are you guys comfortable with being on camera? We can do a little snippet. We can ask people questions, stuff like that.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Anything else you want to talk about, bro? Any questions you have for me?
Yeah, you went through your transformation. You just posted something that, like, in order for you to accept someone, like, you had to first love yourself.
So, yeah, that post, it got a lot of attention where people asked me where. I feel like I kind of just went ghost, where only the people really knew what I was doing was Mateo, because we started the podcasting and we've been talking for a while. My boss, people that were really close in my circle. You know, people, so we're in the social media age where people want to know everything you're doing. I stopped posting a lot on Snapchat also. Mm-hmm. I used to post everywhere I was, everywhere I went.
We outside.
Yeah, it's like, I wasn't living in the moment.
Yeah.
So I guess I kind of took a step back, found my mental health, just gathered myself. All right, what I want to do, what I want for my future. Do I really want to do this podcasting? And like you said, finding someone to be by your side. I feel like that's the hardest thing to do.
It is.
Because you're like, you got to find time for both. You got to find stuff that you guys both like to do. But, you know, like, sometimes even opposite people, like, you attract. Like, sometimes I feel like you need that person that's kind of opposite of you in a way where they help you change. And I feel like the person that I'm with now, like, she helped me see that, where it's like, all right, and I don't have to go out to drink every weekend. I don't have to be doing the same thing that I'm doing. We can do it. Like, yeah, you can drink, but you can do other stuff.
Yeah, I like that.
So I feel like you need that person. So I kind of just look back and I'm like, all right, I'm 27, right? I'm like, where do I want to be 3 years from now? Do I want to go back and be that person that I was in high school? Overweight, stuff like that. Like, you know, like, I still hit the gym. It's like, I'm not in the best shape, but I'm comfortable where I'm at with my body, where like if someone tells me something, like, dude, I don't care. Like I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. So I just had to take a step back, and I wasn't even gonna make that post. Something about me where it's like, I don't want, like, but I'm like, fuck it, because people were just assumptions, stuff like that. But they're never gonna tell me to my face.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
I feel like, yeah.
Yeah, so like, let's say they see this interview and then they'll ask me stuff about you, or they'll come ask you about stuff like, how was he off camera? It's like, yeah.
Laughing.
Yeah, just dumb shit.
Laughing always.
Do you think you need that, or did you said you went through that, right? The reevaluation process.
I still go through that. I feel like my hardest thing in my life is just figuring out how I want to lead my life, because at the end of the day, I feel like where I'm standing today, I can take many directions. I'm like, which one I want, I don't know. So that's why, like, I think where I want to be, and like I'm trying to like do things differently. Okay. I want to set new expectations. So I think I'm doing that.
How do you look at the relationship scene right now? Do you see yourself? Is that something you want, or do you think you still want to do things before?
I don't mind a relationship. I think I'm a very loving person. I love a lot of people.
Okay.
And I'm friends with a lot of people. I think it's hard for me to, I guess it does sounds bad, like say give that to someone, but I don't mind giving it to someone. I would like to give someone who I am. And I think the worst, like I think we're very compatible to a lot of people as long as there's communication.
Yeah.
But I just don't want to be pulled away.
So you want someone that knows what you're doing, what you want to do, that supports you, right?
Supports me, or
understands what it is.
Understands what you're doing, but also doing their own things. As long as I don't have to worry about you, I think that's the beautiful thing. As long as I know you're going to take care of yourself, and not just like financially, but you're taking care of yourself, where I know that I don't need, like if you go out, I know you're going to be respectable. If you're doing your own thing, like I don't have to worry about you. I don't have to feel like I have to like, I don't have to worry about you.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times, like if you don't have the communication, or if someone's still on their, like, their chaotic phase, like I can't. And because at the end of the day, like I try to help people as much as possible, and I give my speeches to people. I even talk to homeless, and because like I want to see how they are.
It's a different way of thinking for everybody.
Yeah, and I just don't. This is what I would say. I'm amplified of the person I'm going to be with, and I will amplify that person as well.
Okay.
So if we're doing well, if I can see that already, and I'm very picky and choosy who I date, but if I see that, I'm like, if I like something, I'm going to say something.
Okay. Because
at the end of the day, the mouth that stays closed does not get fed, and if you don't say anything, nothing ever happens. I
feel like a lot of days, my opinion on it, and I get mixed reactions when I tell people this. I feel like when you're in a relationship, yourself should be your number one priority.
Definitely.
As opposed to them, because if you're always trying to be complacent or have someone happy, they have to find happiness within yourself so you guys can find it together. Mm-hmm. So you just got to make yourself your priority, make your career. I'm going to support you. I'm going to do whatever I can to help, but make that a priority for yourself. Like what I'm doing, you got to understand that we both have different things, but when we're together, it's just like this strong unit where you're just like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that.
Yeah.
And some people tell me, oh, no, you got to be all about this person, this, that. It's like, sometimes you just want to go out with the boys, bro. Sometimes you just want to go out. You don't want to have to be like, oh, man, like stuff like that.
I actually don't mind that, because I think a lot of times I'll just be like about real estate or like reading or like doing all that stuff. But if I can have someone like in my sphere of like, I don't mind it. Yeah. I really don't.
Oh, okay. See, it's good. I mean, if there's any girls out there listening that like to go to Barnes & Noble and Starbucks, this is your guy right here. Yeah. We'll put his info down on the description.
I drink decaf coffee.
Yeah. Nah, man, but it was like, I know we deteriorated away from real estate, but thank you for coming on, giving your knowledge to people. It was a fun conversation. I had fun. Is there anything you want to ask me before we... Anything else you have a question?
No, I can ask him any questions. No, not right now.
No? Okay. Nah, man, I mean, that's cool, man. I mean, it was nice catching up with you, nice having a conversation with you. Thank you for coming on. I like to thank my guests all the time.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's like, we're trying to do this. It's a 2-person team right now. So, thank you guys for being patient with us. Thank you. Like, I don't know if you see the other podcast episodes. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for stuff like that. If you ever want to come on, if you ever want to talk about your workshops, or if you ever want to have other people come on with you, hit my line. We're always available. Make it work.
All right, appreciate it.
Get the information out there, bro.
Appreciate it. No, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, always, bro. So thank you for coming on. This wraps up episode 4. Thank you, Eddie, coming on. I mean, I know we don't drink. You want to take a shot before we go off there?
Maybe. What you got? You said
we just got tequila, bro.
Gonzalez.
It's not my tequila. I know people are like Gonzalez.
All right.
You want a shot?
Yeah, I'll take a shot.
Yeah. You mind doing it the Mexican way, or you need a cup?
No, let's go Mexican way.
Okay. I'm gonna take a swig out of my beer.
All right, so cool.
I guess it's like tradition now, even though we're saying no alcohol, but
yeah, I know, right?
we just contradicted everything we said.
No, but like I said, I think drinking alcohol is just very scary. You don't know who's gonna come out.
Yeah, it's like I don't want Eddie texting me at 3 a.m. Like, bro, I got lost after I left Mateo's house.
Now
Like, bro, what do you mean? I'm sleeping, bro.
I'm like, hey, bro, you want to go to the gym?
It won't get lost in the messages this time, bro. I promise.
Cheers.
All right, cheers, bro.
All right.
All right, well, Eddie.
Wow, spicy.
Thank you coming on. Always a great talk. We'll see you guys next time. Muchas gracias, Mateo. Thank you for everything that you do. Have a good one.